important thing, because these are the sounds in which you're hearing. So if you want to choose tea, because then we're going to kind of like look at subtler impacts of it, because what's great about tea is the fact that because it's part of nature, you're literally drinking in life force. And it's, in a sense, because it's dried, it's almost like frozen life force, added with water, it starts to wake up when the water hits it, because it's like, oh, I've got what I need to come back into life again. So it comes back into your life in your body. And so you're actually internalising some chi through drinking tea. That rhymes. So it's quite a nice feeling. Good, right, well I'm done. So unless you want to play around with tea and see which one makes you go forwards and backwards, which you're quite welcome to do, but now's the time for questions. If you've got anything that you want to know about anything, life, the universe and everything, I pretty much know it all. I like to think so. So yeah, ask away.
Is it going just on with, you know, all these things, if you're going just walking down the street,
yeah,
and you're coming across things that are pulling you back all the time.
Yeah, yeah. Like people, other human beings, yes.
I mean, do you eventually just go splat? I mean...
No. So the thing is we have a wonderful mechanism.
All I mean is that why people get burnout and ME, that's what I'm trying to say.
I think it can be. I think it can be. I don't have any facts towards ME, and I don't have any facts towards like how these things happen, but I do know people who are very empathic and incredibly sensitive. And when people are really sensitive, let me explain this in terms of something I do for sure understand, and then you can make links and join dots if you want to, because I haven't joined those dots together myself. But the solar plexus is a chakra that stands out about here. And it's like a fuzzy yellow energy, and what it does is it frisks people for information to see if they're dangerous or not. And then it brings that information into the solar plexus, or your dantian, and people call it a gut instinct. I have a gut instinct about that person. But people who don't feel safe in the world, so in other words, they may have had a traumatic childhood, or they maybe don't have much self-confidence, so they don't believe that they can handle bad people or bad things or bad situations, will have an incredibly active solar plexus, because the solar plexus is trying to give you precursored information so that you can deal with anything that's going to happen. It actually jumps a few seconds ahead in time, and people call that deja vu. And so it frisks things for information and comes back. Now if it's overactive, it's frisking everything. So then what happens is you end up with a little bit of an overload of information, because it's only looking for negative things. It's not looking for positive things. So frankly, if we could get our solar plexus to look at single available people who are cute, it would be wonderful, because I mean we'd never get married. It would just be coming back with information saying available, cute, lovely person, but it doesn't. It's there to protect the physical body. So the bottom three chakras are actually linked to the ego, and I say a lot of controversial things. People would be like, "What? No, that's not true." But for me, they stop in the centre of the body. They stop in the stomach, which is why people have a lot of stomach issues who don't feel safe in the world. The top chakras go right the way through the body and come out the other side, and they're more connected to your, you might call it higher self, or your spirit, or the part of you that I believe exists beyond death. So this part of you is about physical protection, that part of you is about expanding yourself to be at one with everything and to be connected to everything. So I think that if you've got an overactive solar plexus because you don't feel safe in the world, most people sort of say I need to close that chakra or do this or do that. Chakras are more intelligent than your consciousness. Chakras are more intelligent than your brain. So people who say, oh, I need to clear this chakra, I need to do that, leave them alone. What you need to do is work on your psychology, because your chakras are responding to your psychology. If you don't fix your psychology and you mess around with the chakras, and you were doing a very good job, that's when I think you hit burnout, and that's when certain things happen, because there needs to be a flow of information going from all of it. So in other words, if I'm constantly thinking the world's not a safe place, then I need to sort out what my root core belief is as to why I don't believe the world is a safe place. And until I address that root core belief, which is in my life map, which I created in my childhood, then I'm always going to have an overactive solar plexus. Does that make sense? So, I don't know exactly how that links to ME. I know I went through a series of having, because I see clients, I'm an intuitive therapist, and I went through a series of having an awful lot of clients who had ME, and I just had this really inspired thing, and you can see I'm quite theatrical in the way that I move around. I suddenly got up and I went, I've got a cure for that. 1 minute, I just need to get a prop. I'll be back in a second. And I started to move around. And the person started to panic, as I thought they would. And I said, I just need to get, and she went, no, wait a minute. I said, no, I need to go and get, and she went, no, wait a minute. I said, no, I just need to go and get something and I'm going to cure your ME. She went, stop, no! And I went, oh, God, why? Don't you want me to cure it? And she went, no. And that realisation was that it was of service to her in some way. And I don't think everything's in service, and I don't think that's true of absolutely everybody, but it was true of her. And then we looked at all the benefits that the ME was giving her, all of the things that she didn't want to do, that she was too scared to do, and then we went back to kind of like what gave her the decision that she couldn't do it, and it was a teacher at school, her father, it was all linked to things about self-esteem and self-worth, and she'd gone through so much pain with her exams, so much emotional pain about how well she was going to do with her exams because of so much pressure on herself, that she'd actually got to a point where her body had gone, this is too much for you, just sleep and rest and don't engage in the world until you've healed that. And that perhaps was a psychological cause, but I also know, having a friend who's a fantastic nutritional therapist, Jamie Twigger, she's brilliant, she also says that there's a heck of a lot going on in the physical body with people who have ME that is all related to nutrition, that's related to how your body absorbs nutrients. So there's no cut and dried answer, and I'm very passionate about this because I've discovered just recently, I've got a few friends who've got cancer, and lots of people who are saying to them, oh, liver cancer, that's anger issues. Well, that's just not helpful. You know, that's really not helpful, and you've manifested that. What did you do to manifest that? Well, do you know, sometimes just bad luck just actually happens. You know, it's like, I have celiac disease, my mother, I believe, had celiac disease. Why? Don't know. Does it have lessons? Is it one of the best things that's ever happened to me? Yes, it is. It's one of the best things that have ever happened to me. It's got fantastic lessons, it's really brilliant. Did I cause it? Bugger did I. No, I didn't, sorry. But I didn't cause that. But it's, and other people say, oh yes you did in a previous life, blah blah blah, but then that just makes me blame myself, and then where am I going with that? Then I'll have another disease about blame. Brilliant.
But it's something in your makeup, wanting you to learn those lessons,
yes.
Those lessons to you, it may be manifesting celiac.
That I would go for.
Yeah.
That I would definitely go for that.
Really linked with that ME. I had ME myself.
Really?
And still have some hangovers from it.
I'm not surprised.
That resonates so much.
I'm not surprised, but it's such a, you know, we are so complicated that we really can't be labelled and kind of like sent on a conveyor belt where someone will go beep with a barcode and we're all going to be fine. You know, well not yet anyway, but that's a bit 1984, isn't it? You know, it's, you know, we are so complicated that I think that the best that we can do, really, especially understanding chi as we do, is be as happy as we possibly can and chase happiness. And that's really the best you can do, really. The rest of it is all just about stuff, you know. And believe me, I do enjoy suffering. It's one of my favourite pastimes. I do, I love it. I love suffering because I always think I'm doing something important and therefore I'm important because I'm suffering. But I can also not take it too seriously at the same time. And that's the important thing. Other questions?
When I looked at your website before coming here,
Oh, thank you.
and every time I looked at the films you've made, I cried.
Oh, heck. Oh, shit, that's supposed to be a comedy.
No, yes. So I'm very interested. And I thought it was wonderful, because I'd actually completely opened up to you in some way.
Okay.
I have to go and see Becky.
Thank you very much.
But I was interested in what you made of that.
Yeah.
And is that, I mean, is my interpretation is that there was an opening to your energy, basically.
Yeah.
Through those films.
Yes, and that's exactly why we made them. So I think, you know, and it wasn't about opening to my energy, it was about opening to curiosity or opening to life. Because a lot of the subjects in the films that I've made that are all on the website are they're not about telling you anything. Actually, if you watch them, and I don't tell you that much, they're about opening your questioning. So there may be some controversial points in them, but done in a funny way, but it just allows you to open into an inquiry. Because there was something, I had a radio show on LBC for about 2 years, and I really enjoyed doing the radio show. It was a lot of fun. But one of the main things I learned about doing the radio show was it wasn't about selling my opinion or telling people how to think or anything like that. It was about launching an inquiry, because I don't have all the answers. So sometimes I would say things I actually didn't agree with, just to get people to go, whoa, well that's wrong. Okay, why is it wrong? What do you believe? you know, because then it ends into an inquiry. Hopefully that's what we did with the films. And I've been incredibly lucky. I had a great filmmaker in San Francisco when I was living out there called Marlo, because frankly I realised the other day that to make like a short 5-minute film on your website costs about £2 grand. I suddenly thought, God, I must look really rich. But I've had so many amazing people who've gone, I want to film you because people need to hear what you're saying, and I will make the film and I will put the time in to do it. That's been a great privilege, and you know, it's happening now. But it's really important. It's just about entering into inquiry. That's really all it is. But thank you for crying. Most people laugh, but I'm glad that.
But also, I think it links back to what you were saying about love and curiosity, and that sense that the crying was actually an opening, and that's what love is.
Yeah,
it's an opening up. So I think there's something in there about. I mean, yes, of course I found them funny, but the sort of intuitive reaction was this.
Yeah. And also, I have a belief that when I've talked about chi energy flowing through you, I also can take that to a different level, which is if you've ever seen an amazing performance, like a piece of theatre or someone playing the piano or a pop concert or an amazing piece of art, and I've cried. Because somehow I feel that in that piece of art there is a flow of just divinity or love that is unconditional, that cannot be quantified. And I can't even think what the words are for it. I think, you know, different cultures have different words for it. But it's a sense of like genius flowing through somebody. They're not a genius. They're just open to the idea of allowing this energy to course through them. And so certainly when I'm making films or when I'm giving talks, it's like this thing clicks in, and it's almost like light shining out of your eyes, just something that I can tell when I'm on and when I'm off, and everyone can tell when I'm on and when I'm off. But the rest of the time I'm a bit moany, really. Really. But because there is that. It's like you're in, and you're in the flow, and you're saying things. And sometimes I say things and go, bloody hell, that's genius. Where the hell did that come from? But it's not me. You know, if you expected me to be like that all the time, this is a thing that I had when I got quite famous off the back of the radio show. And I remember someone hassling me in the toilet, which for the wrong things in the toilet, and not for the toilet paper or anything. And she was saying, "Oh, we're trying to get a consultation with you, and you're fully booked, and your secretary said that you were fully booked for months." I don't have a secretary, so I knew she wasn't telling the truth. And she went, "I've just got one question. Can you answer it now?" And I really need a wee. I really want to go to the toilet. And I've got like 400 people waiting in another room for me to come back, and I'm in a queue, and I have to get back to this room, you know. And so I'm like, this isn't an appropriate time. Look, give me your number. I promise I will call you after the talk. She starts crying. And I'm like, oh my God, like, and I'm trying to deal with it until eventually I'm literally at the door, and she's blocking the door between me and the loo seat. And I literally just go, look at where you are, for crying out loud, do you really think I can do this right now? And the whole queue turned against me because I'm not being the person they want me to be. They want me to be in flow with the light coming out of my eyes whilst urinating. There's only light coming out of one place, and it's not my eyes. And you can't. And I had an expectation of myself to always be in that flow. And that nearly burnt me out. So talking about burnout, that nearly burnt me out, thinking I had to be pure and amazing all of the time. You know, and you can't be. So be amazing, like you being a teacher, be amazing when you're in the classroom if you can, for as long as you can, and flake out when you get home and scream at the kids. I mean, it's just, you know, it's like we are on when we're on, and we try and be on all the time, and I think we don't have a go at the earth because it isn't, you know, all of the time in spring, you know, and in summer, you know, it goes into winter and we don't think that's abnormal. So we do need downtime as well as uptime. I don't know if that answers the question at all, but anyway. Just to basically say, you know, that's great, but when the camera's on, it's lovely. Otherwise, it's going what, scratch, what. Good. Any other questions? Talking of, well done. Sorry, I triggered that thought into your head. Sorry.
Talk about chakras, closed chakras, in lots of other work. People talking about opening those chakras again.
Yeah.
You're talking about changing something more fundamental in
yes.
life.
Change the course.
Yeah.
So in other words, like if you've got a closed chakra, my first port of curiosity is why. You know, so rather than kind of going, there's something wrong with this, I need a crowbar, it's like, why? Why is my heart closed? Because my heart might be closed for really, really good reasons, you know. And so it's like, okay, so I need to enter into an inquiry of curiosity. Why is my heart closed? And then it's interesting. Your time frames open up. So then you might see the last time you got hurt, and that opens up. And then you might become curious about that, and that might open up to an argument you witnessed with your parents. And that might open up to seeing how your grandmother was. It's about understanding the causality that leads you to where you are. And so then you understand why your heart is closed. And then when you heal that, or not necessarily heal that, just become conscious of it. Because I don't think you can heal your past, to be honest. I think you can spin it. So every negative thing that's ever happened to me, I've spun it into a positive. And then I changed my life. So, you know, when I remember my past, it's pretty much like remembering a dream. And no more accurate, you know. I really can't tell you the difference between the dream I had last night and yesterday, apart from the fact that I'm probably going to see the people I saw yesterday, and Brad Pitt I won't see today, strangely. So, you know, I'm not going to see the people I dreamt about last night, because I don't know them. So I know that that was a dream. So when I think about my past, I can choose how it ended or how it was. So for example, when I was at school, there was a bullying thing. Remember Games Day? You could bring in your cards and Connect 4 and stuff. Well, there was a group of girls all playing cards. I didn't even know what I was doing. And one of them had a forfeit to come over and punch me. And she said, sorry about this, Walsh, but it's a forfeit, schmack. And I held the moment, you know, I held it, it didn't hurt, you know. And it's throbbing. And she goes back to the card game and everyone's laughing. And I'm holding it, because there was a certain time frame of which you cannot burst into tears. Beyond that time frame, you can. I held it and held it and held it and held it, went to the toilet, burst into tears, so no one had seen me, and, you know, kind of sorted myself out. Now, I've spun that. That didn't happen. Now, I go over to the girls, and I get hold of the bottom of the table, and I flip it in the air, and the cards go everywhere, and the table lands and smacks that girl that hit me in the head, just here, and she goes, like a comedy thing, like it's suddenly Mr. Bean. And that is far more entertaining a scene than the one that goes, I was really seriously bullied as a child and I suffered from low self-esteem. No, I was a terrorist when I was a child, and if you attacked me, I'd get you back, and blah, blah, blah. So then I feel much braver as a human being, having spun that. I have two memories now, and sometimes I get completely confused and I can't remember which is which. I think I've even apologised for her at a school thing. But you know, it's crazy, isn't it? But I think spin your past, because it's gone. So what's the point in using it as evidence for the fact that you're a nincompoop in your current moment? Oh, look, I'm a total nincompoop. Oh, and how is nincompoop serving you? Good luck with that. You don't want to be a nincompoop. Good. Any final question?
How can you tell if, sorry, you're probably not about what you're talking, how can you tell if your chakras are open or closed?
Well, to be honest, usually what happens is you go to a chakra expert and they tell you.
Okay.
Yeah,
pay them some money and they
there's a thing called poking pain that people do.
Okay.
And it's the same in book titles, that you poke someone's pain in the title of the book, so they go, oh my God, yes, that's me. I need to feel the fear and do it anyway. What's this book? You know. So you poke the pain, and coaches are taught how to do this. So you tell someone what's wrong with them, and then you tell them how much money it will cost to fix it. Or if you buy my book, I'll fix it. Or sign up to this list of seminars, and I'll fix it.
So when the coach runs away,
right,
I know I have a real problem.
Then you really have a real problem, and they really can't fix it. No, I wouldn't have thought that. Just a problem that perhaps you're actually better than the coach. You know, so you might have more information than the coach has. So, you know, I mean, it's very rare that you meet a client that you just go, do you know, I can't actually help you because you are so much more intelligent than I am. You should just sort of say so. But so, you know, it's very rare that that happens. But I think that a lot of the time people will kind of say, oh, you know, your chakra's closed. And sometimes it's in their own ego where they'll say, you know, either you've got a negative entity attached to you, there's something wrong with your chakras, you're really like this. And anyone who is vulnerable will just listen to that and go, oh my God, I need to go and get that fixed. Or someone will go, thanks ever so much, that's an opinion. You know, so, you know, so someone will say, oh, your spirit guide's called this, or da-da-da-da. It's like, okay, great. But is that about you telling me that to sound clever, or are you really seeing that, or is that your imagination? And I'm not to poo-poo anyone. I'm just saying, become curious that when anyone says to you, oh, I'm sensing that your heart chakra's closed, I think you've had a terrible, terrible time in your life. Become curious about why they want to tell you this, you know, and become curious, that may be true. But become curious rather than going, oh my God, that must be right because you're really special and you can see something I can't see. Just become curious before you believe everything.
Thank you.
That's okay. Good. Any last question? Oh, it's pouring down. You're all stuck here now. You best come up with some questions, otherwise you're going to have to go out into there.
Going back to the falling forward and back,
Yeah.
can you ask that for another person? If you want to know, you know, Amy or whatever, can you do it for the other person?
No, because it's your body which is the
So
antennae.
you can only do it for
Yeah, yeah. You can see whether or not someone's good or bad for you by writing down their name and putting it over your heart. But you can't do it for somebody else, unfortunately.
So
And also, I'm a great believer in not messing with anyone's free will. If someone wants to mess up, it will probably do them in the world of good. It's true.
Even with children, because someone told me that my child, because he's still under 13, is within my aura, so even for him it would be to do it for him rather than...
I don't know. I don't know. Not being a parent myself, I don't know. I still think that maybe you could, yes, but I'm not 100%
show
sure.
my child for everything.
No, you really can't. No, because you turn into a right neurotic mother.
No, I have a neurotic mother. I know I will never be that.
So no, I don't know. I think you know, there's plenty of stories about children who are lactose intolerant and still being breastfed, and you know, and mother not even noticing that every time the child fed it vomited. I mean, it's just awareness. I think with children, awareness and curiosity will help answer that.
And it's got to be their curiosity, surely, and not yours.
I would have thought so. Yeah, I would have thought so. Yeah,
Thank you.
because they're their own entity, even though they're attached to you. And it's their right to mess up too, which is so hard, but it is. Good. Well, I think I'm done. But any last question or more tea? Yeah.
In bad game shows or other things like the X Factor, what's the reason people cry if they've like done so well or something? And because they're so interested, is that all they're going to win in the finals?
Yeah. Tell you what it is. It's being seen for the first time. It's someone seeing you. So, for example, if you imagine, right, that you've got this talent and you're not sure if it's like a really great talent or a bad talent. So you've got this talent, but you're not sure if it's really good. And then you've told all your friends and they've been like, yeah, you want to be a singer. Everyone wants to be a singer. So what? And you're like, yeah, but I can really sing. Yeah, really. I bet you can really sing. Everyone can sing. Like, so what? And then someone like Simon Cowell on one of these things, like, you know, and the audience are all standing. And for the first time in your life, you feel like you're somebody, or you feel like you're special. Like, you just feel like amazing. And also, when we're talking about chi energy, when you're an actor on stage, can you imagine all the love of that audience? Because you know when you hear a beautiful voice and you just love that person, you just go, wow, that person's amazing. Imagine, like, tier after tier after tier of 1,000 people all going, you're amazing, I love you. Right? Can you imagine the energy of all of that, all coming at you all at once? You'd just burst into tears, you'd probably shake yourself to death. It would be so exciting. That's why they cry, because it's like, I'm seen and I'm loved and I'm real and I'm alive, and they know as well that when they were singing, it was like they were giving God. It was like they were giving something that was received by people's hearts. And that's what it is. And even the people who sing badly, and the audience are laughing, but laughing with them, you know, like there was a guy that was on, I don't watch a lot of this, but there was a guy that was on Britain's Got Talent. He was terrible. He was, I have walked 1,000 miles and I have walked, and the whole audience were clapping along with him, and he was